We're here.
We're here. I'm Ernie Pack.
Denise Pack.
We're Packman Paranormal. And I did that music. I did that music for that video myself.
Tech support in the house. Look.
I see that. New intro video courtesy of
Rob Stanky Bitch.
Yeah, that guy. Rob Stanky Bitch. But we are here tonight. We're going to have good friends Buffy and Barbie on from Nightsong Paranormal. They're folks from our neck of the woods that we've gotten pretty close to.
They got to spend a night. He said, "Excuse me."
Okay, so Rob maybe did the music. But anyway,
it's Stacko Dicks, not Stanky Bitch.
Yeah, correct him. Correct her, Rob. I want to give you guys a heads up right now. I might not be on my game and amazing like I usually am. I'm sure I'll be pretty amazing, but not as amazing. The bar is set pretty high for me. I do have a migraine I'm trying to shake off and ignore right now. But
you're a migraine for me all the time, so I ignore you pretty well.
Yeah, and she makes it so easy for me to shake off a migraine, as you all know. So anyway, do you want to go ahead and bring Barbie?
I was going to say, you're going to keep talking, get somebody on the stage here.
Okay, I'll bring Barbie and Buffy into the house. Hello. How are you?
Yay! About time. Gosh.
It's good to see you.
Paid them tons of money over the last year to bring us on your show.
Grizzly.
I know. $25 a day to get here. I'm just kidding. I don't want to start any rumors.
25 for you. They were charging me 50. What?
Oh. I got a bargain.
We gotta have a talk.
I mean, sorry. I mean, it's Denise.
I'm just going to say, we know you all aren't quite right because not only have you paid money to spend the night with us once before, you've paid money to spend the night with us again.
Time. Yeah. Oh my God. Heck yeah. We even said it. We were like, we'll whatever you want. Like, we just want to come stay the night with your house again. How weird are we, right?
Yeah, that's a little creepy, a little stalkerish. I'm just saying. Yeah.
You're going to have 2 nights with us when you come back.
I am not a stalker. There's documentation to prove that I'm not.
Okay. All right.
I am.
Yeah. Documented stalker. There's documented.
It's like the first time when we were friends, and the first time that I sent something to Ernie in the mail, he's like, "Let me give you my address." And he gave me his address. I said, "I know."
Yeah. Yeah, that was a little creepy, you know. Yeah.
Denise against your window.
Yeah.
Street view.
Yeah.
Oh, did I not tell you that?
Okay. So
let's let them tell us about their team a little bit.
Yeah, before you freak me out anymore. So tell us about Nightsong Paranormal.
You know, we started out as enthusiasts, you know, and Buffy and I have been best friends for nearly 20 years now. And I, for many years,
bless your heart.
We were, I was just kind of an independent investigator. I was taking my friends and family out with me. And then Buffy had me come investigate her house. And then before you knew it, she was starting to come out with me. And then Nightsong happened and, the train wreck ensued. So here we are.
Yes.
Yeah. And
there's Vernon. Vernon is one of our team members. What's going on?
Vernon got diddled at the Ditto house. I'm sure
we sure did.
Yes. It was a very touching evening for him.
Very touching. We were hoping that he would be here so he could tell us about his encounters of being diddled.
Well, we can send him a link if he wants to come on.
He said he might not be able to make. Vernon, do you want a link? I can send you one.
If you want a link, Vernon, just say so in the chat. We'll send you a link and you can jump in here and defend yourself because you know these ladies will make you look bad.
He was first in line to to want to come back and stay in that room.
Yes.
And he wants to stay right back there, doesn't he?
He's gonna
Yes.
light some candles, you know. He's gonna stay in there.
Put on some Marvin Gaye.
Yeah. Come in with a smoking jacket.
Hugh Hefner ain't got nothing on Vernon.
So
I'm still going to design that shirt. I did not get to before this broadcast. It's
we
going to
need
happen.
one. I will wear that shirt.
Yeah.
There will be a shirt that's get diddled at the Ditto House.
Yeah. Yeah. That you want to give people the scoop on that? All
I
right.
can tell that one, Barbie. I don't know if I can get through it.
Appreciate you chiming in there, buddy. So yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. When you guys were here, we had a lot happen that night. I thought we did anyway. I don't know how you guys felt about it, but it felt like pretty good.
I mean, I stand on what I said. It was like from the moment I walked in, it was like I saw a shadow like at the top of the run real fast, and I'm like, is anybody else y'all remember that? Like, is there anybody upstairs? And you're like, oh, that's where the kids play. And I'm like, excuse me. What do you mean?
Kids.
But it was just, and then the one filming crew was there, and there were things that were happening, and you were like, yeah, that happened to them too. That happened to them too. That happened to them. So all these things were being validated within the first 30 minutes of us stepping in the door. It was incredible, and it happened all night. Y'all, man. Still, I stand on it. It's the most active place I've ever been. From the moment we stepped foot till when we left.
We feel that way, and we were tour guides at Waverly Hills, and we've said that from day one. And for anybody that's not been here, it's it sounds like we're just tooting our own horn, but it really is nonstop around here.
We definitely did not expect this when we bought the house.
I think the reason it just keeps for you guys, it keeps going is especially the children. They love you guys. They love you guys.
We play
I get that.
we treat them like they're other people that are here.
Yeah,
it's like we do all the spirits, and anywhere we go, we treat them like that. And I do feel like, to your point, Buffy, I feel like that's why we have the activity that we have, and I think that's why you guys had the activity you had that night, was because you have that same approach. You treat them like people, and you invite them to talk with you. You don't just talk at them and ask the same mundane questions,
Yeah.
Right.
And they really love Todd and Leanne. I mean,
oh my gosh.
I was getting a little jealous. I'm like, what about us? No.
We've already told Todd and Leanne they have to come up when we're up there, because otherwise I don't think they're going to want to hang out with us as much. Because
it's funny because every time we tell the house, we're like, Todd and Leanne are coming up, a cabinet somewhere in the house opens before they get here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Every time. And I mean, like what you guys were talking about, I mean, they turned on, what was it, the spirit box or something? I forget what it was. We were listening, and as soon as it came on, Todd, Leanne.
It was a solid half hour asking back and forth, Todd and Leanne.
And you're like, no, Todd and Leanne aren't here. They're coming in the next couple weeks.
Do you want us to call them? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have to do that sometimes. It's just like, when you have a little kid that's like, I want to call grandma. Every once in a while, it happens so much. We're like, okay, we need to call Todd and Leanne and let them talk to whoever.
Yeah.
So
It's crazy. But I mean, but that wasn't the only thing that happened.
We'll just let y'all tell your whole night. Just go from the beginning to the end and just have at it.
Yep. Yeah. So the moment we walked in, Buffy is more intuitive. So she was feeling stuff right out the bat. She can tell you that. But that's the first thing I did. I had seen the shadow run really fast from left to right down the hall on the top of the stairs. And you were like, if you just sit here and you look up there in that mirror, you'll see them all night. You'll just watch them. But they're smart though, because I had a camera there, and They knew it. They knew it. And they're like, I'm not going to do that. So we didn't catch that the other night, but I know what I saw. And then just the voices, like the hay being touched, the shadow movement, the big bang that we heard towards the end of the night, to where you all like, you went packing outside. Like you were like, okay.
I thought somebody was outside messing with us because
that was
around here will come that it's probably a ghost hunt. So we were like, oh, somebody's out here just messing around trying to scare us or something. But
yeah, and it was literally all night. You know, it's like sometimes it's like sitting on the pond, you know, and you're just waiting for hours for just a fish to bite the line. They were biting all night, like they were playful and welcoming. I mean, from the moment we walked in that door till the moment we left, it was just awesome. But I'll let Buffy talk and tell you.
I loved the trickery. I loved the trickery of it. The
playfulness.
Yes, and I'll have to ask his name again. I was just talking about him last week, and I'll have to ask his name.
Mr. Porter.
Yes, Mr. Porter. When you just go walking by and he's just standing there. And poor Vernon, I pretty much jumped over him because I wasn't expecting Mr. Porter to be standing right there when I'm coming through. And it startled me. And then I laughed so hard about it, and you could feel the air. You could feel that he was getting the same kick out of it after that.
Absolutely.
Which I also loved. You know, it was never, I think that's what I equally love. It's like, you know, once they started feeling that we were enjoying that too, it was everybody enjoying the jump factor right along with each other. You know, Denise, you were telling me the story last week of you were going to trick them too, and then they got you back, and I'm like,
Barbie didn't get to hear that story.
That sounds like the best game of hide and go seek ever, and I love it.
To the like maroon living room from the dining room the other night, and I saw Mr. Porter in that doorway going towards the front door, so I ran over through the parlor in the dark to come out that doorway because I was going to jump in front of him and try to startle him. Well, when I jump in and look, he's not there. And I'm like, well, where'd he go? And I turn around and I look this way, and I'm standing in pitch black. I mean, other than I say pitch black, the moonlight, somebody grabs my hand. I was here by myself. I started cussing and yelling, and I was like, he got me anyway. No matter how I try, I thought I was going to startle him. No, he still got me.
Man,
he's
a jokester
after that. That's what I love, because don't you find doing all of this, you're not as jumpy. Like, I don't jump scare. It takes a lot to jump scare me.
Yeah.
So for those moments, it's that startle and then the laugh immediately after. Now, where everybody, you know, friends of ours that will ask about all of this that they do, and they start going, oh my gosh, I couldn't do that. It's too scary. Something jumps out. And I'm like, it's not the same kind of scare. It's not a go to a haunted house jump scare. It's that adrenaline startle, then you realize, and then you laugh about it and you go, and it's really cool kind of scare.
Yeah.
It's that cool adrenaline scare. And I'll talk about that, and they're like, oh no. And I'm like, oh, come on, you got to do it. You got one time, experience it one time, and you'll get it.
Well, it's just so funny because like just being scared. I mean, that's about the only way they can get me is if he like startles me like that, because like, well, last night I was coming back from the bathroom towards our room. I had gotten my shower and was heading that way. And I look over and I just look in the ladies' room every time I go past just because I'm looking for something. And as I'm looking at the bed, there's nothing there. And then she materializes and then vanishes again while I'm looking. So I go and I just keep walking, and I go into bed. And I'm like, well, there was a woman that just materialized on the bed. And then he comes through and he's like, hour too.
That was one of the only rooms. That was when I was sitting in the ladies' room solo. I had over by the chair in the corner. I had movement. There's the quilt or whatever, the crochet thing that was draped over the back of the chair. I had movement of it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'm just sitting there by myself, and I'm like, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard some.
And I thought
some
because the
cussing
door
taking
between the
place.
rooms was cracked just enough. The door that goes down to where you guys are was
Oh,
cracked
yeah.
just enough. I thought maybe because Barbie and Morgan were down that way. And I thought, well, maybe they had moved just right. So I was like, did you guys move? Did something move? They couldn't hear me in there.
Yeah.
And I started getting louder and I'm like, no, did you move? And they're like, no. And I'm like,
And then we went back through again, just to debunk, as we always do. And she was like, "Nope, that didn't
nope,
recreate it.
that was not the
Um,
thing that happened. So
Nothing
that
happened.
was,
Yeah.
And then, like towards the end of the night, so we'll get to the diddled part here in just a moment.
yeah,
But
that was a highlight of the evening.
towards the end of the night, which, by the way, like the food, the snacks, the hospitality, it was all wonderful. We were all pigging out as we do, like 3:30 in the morning, about ready to go to bed. And I was sitting at the dining room table, and y'all had like a dresser with a mirror or something
Mhm.
kind of off to my left. And I was looked up at the mirror, and I had seen a shadow on the back wall just kind of walk. And I'm like, I'm counting everybody at the table, and I'm like, everybody's sitting here who's in the kitchen. And then you were telling us about the story of Todd in the middle of the night going down to the fridge, and he had the fridge open, and then he closed it, and there's the lady in the red shawl or whatever.
Yeah.
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 Yep.
You're like, yeah, that's something that everybody sees too. So I mean, we were having all of these experiences that were being validated, and it was nice. It was refreshing to know, okay, I'm not crazy. But
Todd,
there's so,
must be
you know,
napping because he's not in here. He would love to hear you say something about the lady in the red shawl.
Yeah.
He's always like,
Did anybody see the lady in the red shawl?
so somebody was in that kitchen, and it wasn't any of us. And the dogs are not that tall, so I mean, I don't know, but it's like, we brought all of our equipment, and we didn't even use a quarter of it. You don't need it. You don't need it there.
Yeah, it's true. And I mean, I don't know, if you're doing a residential case for a customer, or if you're putting on a public event for enthusiasts that, are kind of new to the field, whatever, all the equipment and all that stuff is awesome. And
Yep.
it's good to have, and it's good to use, and good to document with, and all that. But when you're at a place that's this active and you're just there for the experience, you don't need the equipment. You don't need it.
It finds you.
Yeah, Vernon's saying he was 10 to 15 feet away from Buffy when she was calling for us and could not hear her.
Yeah, when I was in the late, Vernon was sitting in the children's room. He was sitting in the kids' room.
Yeah.
He couldn't hear me.
That's
Yeah.
And I was sitting on the bed in the ladies' bedroom. And no one could hear me.
I can't explain that.
Yeah, that's strange.
But
But it's the same as that really loud bang
Yeah,
that
we
happened. That
we-
shook the house. Every one of us except Morgan heard it. She
Yeah.
she was laying in the ladies' bedroom asleep.
this is true.
And she had no idea
Yeah,
that
she had no clue.
happened.
Yeah.
The house shook. We all heard it.
Frozen.
Barbie froze up.
Uh-oh.
Oh, and we lost. Oh, you're stuck with just me. Uh-oh.
well,
She'll probably come back in here.
Yeah,
There
she'll be
she
back.
is.
we'll get her back on here. Boom.
All right.
There
Uh-oh.
you go.
This is that Laverne, Tennessee Wi-Fi baby. Yes.
That's right. Nothing
Yes.
but there.
Love it. Let me fix my microphone here. Okay.
Yeah, we do see all you people saying hello and stuff over here. I'm trying to wave at everybody as they come up with interrupting too much. So you all do stuff at Maggie Mansion. Did I say that correctly?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Are they-
we just did one on Friday night. They did a ghouls night in, and they had such good food, and everybody had a great time. That house it's active. I mean, it's not the Ditto house, but it is active. But it's the same kind of vibe, very welcoming, very playful. And it is active. And they love to interact with everybody through the devices. So And then, some people don't like the use of the devices, but that particular location, they love it. Like they love the dowsing rods, they love the spirit boxes, and they interact. So
they
Did they,
really,
do they allow like private overnights, or they just do things when you all come in? They do.
Yep,
Mhm.
they do allow private overnights, and it's one of those. It's kind of a newer place, which I like, but I don't know of any of the history prior to them buying the home, whether it was active or not. So, the only thing we can go off of is maybe it was active. It started being active when the renovations, because they did a full renovation of that house, and it might have kicked up some activity. So, and that's why, that's how we got to meet them, and they loved our vibe. Like Jen and Denise loved our vibe right away, and they were like, "You're our team. Anything we want you to vet all of our teams and that come in, and we want you to run our events for us." And we love that. We love that we have that nice bond with them, and it helps also with the spirits because they've gotten to know us so well. So when we walk in, they're just welcoming,
Yeah.
I think
we
it
get
helps, like
we got there Friday night, and it was instant. Like we're upstairs. I'll go upstairs, start sitting up, and I'm hearing Buffy, and I'm like,
"Hey girl, hey girl."
Yeah, I think it helps when you get that rapport, because I think the spirits know, hey, these are my friends. And I think what's
It's
same
okay
here.
to talk.
It's okay for me to talk because they're my friends, and they wouldn't have these people here
if they weren't good.
if they weren't good people.
Yeah, because the first time when they called us in, because they were like, we have a lot of activity and we would love for a team to come in and document some of it. We didn't go in and, we're not that kind of team that's going to go in and start asking questions right away. I would never, walk or allow anybody to walk into my home and start questioning me right away.
Right.
So we just we ordered dinner. We sat at the dining room table. We just started talking and laughing and cutting up like we do. And before we knew it, like we were starting to hear the voices, and we were like, okay, they're ready to talk. They've gotten used to us by now. By that point, we were already there 3-4 hours, and just giving them that space to get to know us a little bit. And then we, rather than being questions left and right, we were more like intuitive, like, I think this house might have been built like in the early 1800s, just thinking, hoping they would come in and correct us or join in the conversation. And they did. And we got some really good evidence to reveal to Jen and Denise. And they were just floored right away. And they were, number one, they're not crazy. Number two, yes, there is something here. And you validated that. And through the team coming in, I was the only one that knew all of their claims. Nobody else on the team knew. So we were able to validate some of the claims, and they liked the way that we did it. And
that was the first investigation when the spirits told us to go to bed.
It was like 6 o'clock in the morning. The sun was coming up.
Yeah.
They were like, Barbie, I was under Estes, and I think, Barbie, did you ask them, are you tired? Do we need to go to bed or something like that? And apparently I got yes.
Yeah.
They were like, yes, go to bed.
We're done.
Okay. Good night.
There's Crystal Blevins.
Hey, Crystal.
So Crystal was at Maggie Mansion this Friday with us too.
Crystal stayed at the Ditto house.
Has she?
Yes.
She had, when she was here, we had one of those crystals on the steps, had been missing for like 3 months because they moved it, and then it just was
disappeared,
gone. And she slept in the children's room all night, pillows everywhere, because she had a bad back, and she was, trying to get comfortable. Got up the next day, showered, went back to make the bed, and that crystal that had been missing for 3 months was under her pillow.
Yeah.
They left the crystal for Crystal.
They left the crystal for
exactly.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was the same night Rob was here.
She didn't get diddled at the Ditto house. Rob didn't get diddled at the Ditto house.
He might.
Vernon must be the special one, I guess. So we gotta get into that. Okay. Like, I wish Vernon could have been the one to tell his story.
On this.
But we were in the room upstairs above the kitchen,
Reminder, disclaimer for anybody that don't know, we were a brothel at one point. Let's just throw that in there.
Yes. We were. The house was.
Exactly.
The house was. Now,
Yeah.
and to start that, Vernon's first words when he arrived on property, getting out of his vehicle, was, "I heard this used to be a brothel."
He was immediately
started
happy
it.
about that.
He started it.
Yeah.
Barbie, go.
So we all of us, it was me, Buffy, Morgan, Vernon, and Ernie and Denise, and we were up in the room above the kitchen, and Vernon made himself comfortable on the bed. He laid down, and we had just a bunch of K2s, which, as we all know, a K2, it just lets us know if the environment's right. Apparently the environment was really right in the crotch area. And he didn't have his phone on him, nothing. None of us had any of that. And he stood up really fast and he looks at all of us and he goes, I don't want to be crude or anything, but I feel like somebody's tickling my balls. We're like,
we all immediately laughed.
and at this point, Buffy's under Estes.
Yes.
And I got sit down or lay down or something
Lay
like
down.
that. And it was stern.
Yeah.
Lay down.
Lay down.
Lay down. What else did you get? You got like a couple other words, and we were like, "Oh my god!" They're trying to
I remember ripping off the headphones one time, dying laughing because I just came off. They came off, and I said, and I'm just going to say it because they came off, and I said, "I swear, I just heard the phrase, look at them titties." I had no idea. I had been under for a while. I had no idea what was transpiring in the room. Like
You're like, what is this? What is going on?
I
Felt like she was like narrating a porno.
I was zoned all the way out. So I take off the headphones. I'm dying laughing. I look up and say it, and everybody just starts laughing. And I'm like, did that work with this? And everybody's like, yeah. And I'm like,
well, I remember.
Okay. And I'm just putting the headphones back on and going back in. Like, okay.
Tattoos were lighting up around his crotch.
Yeah. That was what Barbie said at first.
Yeah.
And
That was.
And he was like, I don't know how my wife's going to react to this one. I was like, well, I mean, what happened to the Ditto house doesn't have to leave the Ditto house. It doesn't have to.
The house stays at the Ditto
And then
house.
we went downstairs a while later, and then Vernon was like, we need to go back up to that room.
I'm sure you do, Vernon. I'm sure you do.
Crystal's wanting Barbie to talk about the attic.
I guess at Maggie
All of that at Maggie.
Okay. Yeah. Maggie Mansion. So it was an incredible Estes method. So right above, so there's this music room in the back of the house, and we were doing an Estes method. I'm glad not everything was working at that moment. I would have been embarrassed. Thank you for that, Vernon. Thank you. Yeah. We all thank you for that. So above us was the old attic, which they believe may have been the slave quarters. Just there was something up there that maybe made them think that it was the slave quarters. So anyway, Crystal goes up there by herself. She's doing the Estes method, and we're downstairs under her, and we're asking questions, but we're very low to make sure that she can't hear us. And whoever was talking to us was just like a grumpy old man, which we knew there was a grumpy old man up there anyway. And he was just like, leave me alone. I don't want to be here.
She's telling a story. Shut up.
It was Ernie up in the attic.
Ernie, were you hiding at Maggie?
Hey. Don't encourage this asshole.
Hey, birds of a feather now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can have all of us overnight again for 2 whole nights.
Yeah.
And Crystal seems to be the kind of person, she's kind of intuitive too. And so, and I feel like those who are intuitive, more sensitive, more psychic, I guess, in a way, do so much, or in tune. They do so much better at the Estes method. I'm horrible at it. Don't put me in the headphones. I'm horrible. I'm not any good at it. But like Buffy's she's our go-to person. So Crystal was really good at it. And she kept saying the Bible, Job. And we were like, what are you talking about, Job? And then she would say Job 7, Job 7. Lock the door, lock the door. He's coming. And we're like, what are you talking about? And so Jen, who's the daughter of the owner, she's the property manager there. She went to the back door and it was unlocked. So she locked it back, and Crystal up in the attic goes, thank you.
Nice.
Which was cool. And then I was like, let me look up this Job 7. And it talks about slavery and the hard work, and their bodies are beaten down, and just leave them be. And it all just kind of meshed in. And it was about 20 minutes of a very fantastic and very relevant Estes session. And I mean, I don't know. It's one of the best that I've ever been a part of. So kudos to Crystal for being a really good receiver. And it was awesome. Yeah. Maggie Mansion's she's magical.
That session was up in the attic up there, done up in the attic.
Yep.
I'll have that on my voice recorder. I had one up there.
Nice.
I didn't know y'all did that because I wasn't in that area at the time. So that'll be on that.
Yeah.
It was cool.
And Maggie Mansion where is that? Gallatin?
Mm-hmm.
That's in
Gallatin.
Yeah.
Tennessee for anybody watching. So
Yeah.
And that is one that you can book and stay overnight at and investigate while staying at. Bonus points to be able to stay there and investigate. So
You might not get diddled, but hey.
But you might. You never know.
Yeah.
we weren't expecting anybody to get diddled at the Ditto house.
Only Vernon has been diddled at the Ditto house. So
Yeah,
it was the whole super duper excited about the brothel thing. I'm pretty sure that set that one off.
that would explain why every night since y'all left, I come up here and Ernie's laying in there. I'm just seeing the beds go.
He's lying. It's not every night.
You happy to see me, or is that just a K2 in your pocket?
Just 6 out of 7 nights of the week.
So
that one at the first part of the night upstairs at Maggie, that was interesting. We had some moments and there's some of it I still want to kind of look back into and see if we can validate alongside the history of the house. Like before I start kind of really speaking factually on
outwardly of it. Yeah.
Yeah. We had some, when we went up there at the beginning of the night, it was really kind of interesting. There was something that had occurred one of the last times that we had investigated there, that when we got upstairs, Crystal had started immediately picking up on some of the same vibes. That being said, and Crystal, you didn't know this either. When we had first gotten to the house on Friday to set up the room that I was talking about earlier, where I was starting to set up and I was getting the female voice. That was the same bedroom, Crystal, that we were in when we started getting all of that. And it's the same voice, and it was the same female that all these other things were happening with that I had told you about. There is an entire scenario that we feel that has played out. And now the last time that we as a team investigated there, I had felt a big part of it play out. And it's hard to explain the emotions of it and the feelings of it that happened, but I got pulled into one room to a particular window and area of the house, and it was playing out. And then when Crystal came upstairs, she immediately got pulled over to this other bedroom, but could point out people, areas, direct things. And I just let her talk. I kept going, what are you feeling? What are you seeing? I just kept getting her. I wouldn't say a word about what had happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then we pulled out in the group that we were in, we had dowsing rods out, starting asking questions. There were a lot of things that validated directly what we had experienced the time prior directly. Yeah. So now there's been 2 very in line and direct with each other moments that have occurred. And I really want to dig into some history and see before I start kind of.
Right.
Because it's intense and it was big. And we're kind of like all like my heart is pounding thinking about it at this point, because it was we walked in, but yeah, I walked into that bedroom before it was Barbie and I were the only two in the house at that time, like beginning of the early afternoon or evening. And the female was already in there saying my name, and I could feel her. She wanted, it was like, you're here, you're here, you're here.
Yeah.
She wanted it. And then when Crystal and I both walked in there, it was just right there.
Yeah.
And it was on us both, and we were both, and bless Crystal's heart, she had to almost yank the dowsing rods out of my hands at first because I had 3 of them on me, and I was hitting a point I couldn't even think. And yeah, that one got big.
I get
that
it.
one got big.
We've had
those moments.
Yeah, we've had those moments.
Definitely.
And it's like you don't want to go into them and until you have some history to back it up. And we've dug up a lot, and we've dug up a lot of history, and then the owner has dug up a lot of history. But
there's a lot of gaps.
There's a lot of gaps that we can't fill in. Exactly. Yeah. And so we're just like, we don't want to put them out there as if they're fact, because they're not yet. So we just need to validate that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you probably get with like the town historian or something and fill some of those gaps. Maybe. I don't know.
There's some there. We're friends with a few of them there in Sumner County I grew up in Sumner County, so I can go kind of there too and talk to a few people, but even up in like Kentucky there, because they hold a lot of Sumner County's records. So that may be my next big hyper focus to go start figuring some of that out now. Because that got interesting.
For us, just the story, the 502, the nurse at Waverly Hills, there's no documentation anywhere on either side. But so when we put stuff out, we're like, this is solely based on paranormal research, but it's backed up by over 30 teams. We quit counting at 30, and there were a couple of things we were able to prove. So it's just one of those things that when you can't find it, all you can go by is that you got to listen to the secrets.
Yeah. Let them tell their story.
That's right.
See, and that's what I'm kind of like right now. It's then seeing Crystal saying what we got. We doubt it's ever been documented, but I want to kind of look into further with some of the families from the area that were slave owners, things like that, kind of dig deeper into some of the other families that came up in the area and traded. I just want to kind of dig with some of those pieces and just see if I can find something.
Yeah.
But and it's like, it's
we've
rich.
now gotten that same story twice.
Yeah. And it's rich with history. I mean, when it was the Transmontania School for Boys. It was the very first like chartered school for Gallatin, Sumner County, and like Trousdale, Trousdale Place. He was actually a student there. Trousdale was.
Really?
So I mean, it's rich in history. I mean, there's a lot of really powerful men that were taught there and in the government seat and everything. So that there's a lot of power. When comes power, you can hide a lot of things too. So
exactly,
there's probably a lot of history that's hidden that we might not ever find. So
I don't know if you guys have ever done the cemetery walk at Halloween there in Gallatin that they do.
No, we have not.
You should go sometime. It's amazing to me the amount of history, the number of prominent people in the world. Prominent in not just in Tennessee, but in the world that were from that little town.
Yeah.
Back in the 1800s and early 1900s. And it's a broad spectrum of people, black, white, Asians. I mean, there's a whole lot of history in that little town. It's a cool town.
It's one of those areas after growing up. I mean, because I grew up, like when I say I grew up in Hendersonville. So I always talk about when I always talk about like doing this now, I really wish I would have paid attention on all those field trips growing up. So now I'm like going back and retaking the field trips now. Then just the day in the classroom, and now I'm like, I actually want to know, and I want to go back more than once to learn the history and to see if maybe I get the spirit while I'm there. But it's like,
well. you co-founded or were one of the early members of Gallatin Paranormal Research.
Gallatin
with
Paranormal
Jason Hale.
Research. Jason Hale, when he started Gallatin Paranormal Research, it was him, me, and Heather that started it. I mean, he was the founding father of it because it was his idea, and he it was during MySpace days. He actually sent me a message because I lived in the area, so I was like the first one on board with him. So I was Gallatin Paranormal Research with him, GPR for.
That's cool. That's cool.
Did you guys ever investigate Maggie Mansion that you know of?
Mm-mm. We didn't do a lot.
She was probably a duplex at the time, around that time.
Yeah, they said it's fairly new.
Yeah,
but like it was right. Well, I guess you could say the height of when the Ghost Hunters and Stuff Taps was taken off. And we did do some local things, Octagon Hall for one, but
a lot of things around the square.
Yeah, a few things around the square, but for the most part, we were like traveling every weekend, like to other states. And it was like, we probably should have done more right there.
There's a lot there. I mean, with Rosemont and Trousdale, and Craig Font, and
Craig Font wouldn't let you in. I don't know if they will.
Say people had not figured out around here how much they hadn't figured out, or they didn't want to figure out.
Yeah,
they didn't want anybody to say it yet.
Yeah, it was still Bible Belt stuff where you didn't talk about that kind of thing.
Rock Castle.
It might have happened, but it didn't happen.
Yeah. Rock Castle.
There ain't no haints in there.
I would ask Rock Castle about their ghosts, and they'd be like, "Oh, we don't have ghosts." But then on Halloween, they, around the fall, they'd be like trying to raise money by telling their ghost stories. And it's like, well, that's funny. Just a few months ago, you told me you didn't have any.
Yeah.
And I'm thoroughly intrigued with Rock Castle.
I love Rock Castle.
Like Buffy, you were saying that you would love to go and investigate.
That's
just
one
to take a recorder or something.
That place would draw me as a kid, and I had no idea why.
Yeah.
Now I'm learning a little bit more about why.
What's that other place? Winwood or
Winwood was
in Winwood,
Castilian Springs.
Yeah, it's not Castilian Springs.
Yeah.
There's so many right there within an hour drive. I mean,
yeah, there's no shortage of places. I mean, you got Two Rivers Mansion, you got the Hermitage, but I would love to get in the Hermitage and investigate that. That would be awesome. The courthouse in Murfreesboro is known to be haunted, but they don't let anybody in. And like just all these like little towns, they're so rich in history.
Yeah.
And I don't know that area right around the Kentucky-Tennessee border down there. There's a lot.
Well, Old Stone Jail, Octagon Hall. I mean, you got a
Bell Witch Cave,
a whole bunch of
my backyard.
Yeah.
Buffy's house.
My house.
Buffy's haunted.
Probably, yes.
Well, when I lived in Hendersonville, I lived on Allen Drive, which was like, Nanny Berry Elementary. That's haunted. Nanny Smith.
I have been when it was Hendersonville High School, the old Hendersonville High School building right there. I have been in that building at 1 a.m. in that gym when stuff has happened. I was in high school. I went to beach.
My kids
we were setting up for a tournament, and I have been in that building when stuff's happened.
Yeah.
No.
Ellis, Hendersonville High, and which Ellis was the old Hendersonville High, and then Nanny Berry, they're all haunted. But we lived like 2 streets past that. And I don't know if anybody else that had lived in my house had any experiences, but we had a lot of experiences in my house.
They talk about everything back in that area, they talk about it being Nanny Berry, that kind of, that family, it's all that area. Yeah.
Well, we would have done an aerial view of where my house was. I was right in the triangle of Hazel Path Mansion, Rock Castle, and Eventide.
That makes sense.
So I was
knowing the area, that makes sense. Yeah.
So Hendersonville.
And for those of you who don't know the area that we're talking about, check it out. I mean, look it up.
Oh, it is
Hendersonville, Tennessee.
If you're interested in the paranormal and looking for new locations that you haven't maybe heard of or seen on TV or whatever, there's dozens of them right there in that little area.
Right. There are a lot.
Gallatin, Tennessee. And if you want to go and investigate at places in Gallatin, Tennessee and want somewhere to stay at Maggie Mansion and go investigate some of the other places in the Gallatin area. You would be within a 20-minute drive of anywhere in Gallatin, Hendersonville, all of that right there.
Right.
And you can investigate Maggie while you're at it.
Road, and you got Old Stone Jail and Octagon Hall up there. I mean, there's just
Oh, yes.
there's no shortage. People making a paranormal road trip could base themselves in Gallatin, Tennessee,
Straight up.
and then I mean, you're just 2
Spend
hours.
a whole week doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can make an I-65 tour, and it would be just boom, 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 boom.
Exactly.
One place after the other. Yeah. It's true.
31.
I could tell y'all a story about
31W.
Nanny Berry. All of my kids, well, my oldest didn't go to Nanny Berry, but my 3 youngest went to Nanny Berry, and I was like PTO president, carnival chair. Like I spent many hours before and after school in that building till late nights. And there had been I think she was a first grade teacher that had been there for several years, and she had decided to get married and move. And it was after school when there was maybe a handful of people in the building. And it was her last day. And I'm over in like 2 classrooms away. And I start hearing this wailing, crying coming from her room. And I poke my head out, and there's like 2 or 3 other teachers poking their head out. And we're all thinking that she's in there having a meltdown because she's been there her whole career and she's moving and, upset. There's nobody in that room. But we all heard it coming from that room. So all we could figure was Nanny was upset because she was gone, because she had already left today. But that was one of the creepiest things that was like, it was not do I hear that? Do I think I hear that? No, it was there because we're all like, what in the world?
Am I being murdered down the hall there?
Yeah, Nanny Berry's dead. But the principal, even when I was, which the same principal's not there now, but when I was there, the principal, the printers and stuff would go off, and she'd say, "Oh, that's just Nanny," and she just keep doing her stuff. So then she's very well known at Nanny Berry Elementary. Everybody acknowledges that there's a ghost there. So
yeah, the teachers and principals along the way there, they all were just like, "Yep,
yeah,
No doubt.
yeah." So
What is it with schools? Like my old high school was haunted. I don't know what it is. With
all that, all those hormones, puberty,
all the energy going
I
through.
put my guess in.
yeah, sure.
What has Sarah told us about heaven and why she still spends time at Waverly?
Because that was heaven.
That was the best days of her life. She enjoyed those times.
That was heaven.
I mean,
High school or school
how
is the
many
best
of us
time.
look back on our school days and say, "Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. I
Not
wish I could
me.
revisit those days."
Not me.
Most people do, though. I mean, most people look back on their school days and wish they could revisit those days. So why not go back and visit that place and that time? Because, like I say, I believe that spirits are not bound by time at all. I mean, they can go back and it's there. It's then. It's the moment they want it to be. And
Vernon did fall asleep. We have video evidence of this taking place.
audio? Was he snoring?
Oh,
video and audio. That's all.
We
right
have
there.
video and audio,
Multiple angles,
and
of
we
this.
have played it many times for people. So
Vernon is good to have on your team. It's good to have someone like Vernon on your team, isn't it?
we love Vernon. We love him so much. He's like that little brother, and you just like love him, and you give him a hard time, and you love him to death, But he is like, he really adds so much energy, and I don't know, Vernon, you're the best. I mean, you get diddled, you fall asleep,
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true, Crystal.
that is true.
Well, I think also, like, as far as Nanny Berry goes, I think that was the Berry property too, though. So part of that, they owned the land. I think part of it is too, they're overlooking their land. And
Yeah.
I think for a long time, it was rumored for a long time that they weren't happy about the land being built on and developed like that. The more it goes on, I feel like it's the opposite.
What do you mean?
You don't hear of them being disruptive. You've never heard over the entirety of the years that we've all heard the stories of everything in that school, in the neighborhoods around it, the areas, it's never been anything
malicious,
acting up, malicious, it's always been just roaming around, hanging out, just a part of things. I think that when they talk about Nanny being around, I think that when those rumors started, it was out of the fear of, oh, it's a haunting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of
I
people
feel like now at this point, I think that she is overlooking. She's happy that
right.
families are being raised on her former property. Children are being taught on her former property. Like, I don't think at all that she's upset about it. And now she's just overlooking it and enjoying it.
And
She's just on a different realm doing that. So
I get it.
You shut Vernon up in a bathroom again. Isn't that what happened when?
Is that like a pattern with you ladies? You just lock them in bathrooms.
Vernon likes to be locked up in bathrooms.
You did.
For the record, he volunteered at Ditto.
He does. He volunteered that night too at their house.
Okay, he volunteered at Ditto. Now I wasn't present for any bathroom lockups at Maggie, so I can't speak on that. I was upstairs.
Vernon came flying out of that bathroom at y'all's house. I mean,
that big boom happened.
That boom happened. We all would have.
That scared all of us. That scared all of us.
That was
and it happened because I was on one side of the door and Vernon was on the other, and it happened in between us.
Yeah,
in that room in the bathroom that he was in. But I remember y'all. I mean, y'all were not playing. Y'all got up and you're like, Denise took one area. Y'all were packing and going out and like,
it's like SWAT.
SWAT team went
running through, going, somebody check on Morgan. Somebody check on Morgan. I'm like,
yeah, because we had never had that happen before.
No,
it hasn't happened since. Yeah, so it's
and we were talking about the murder that. Whatever, the murder room. We were talking about that, and that was our line of questioning at the time. And then we were like, did we just was that a residual of the actual murder taking place?
Body hitting the floor.
Yeah,
because I mean, that's exactly what Vernon said. It was closest to him, I think. And he said it sounded like a body hitting the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his little watch thing with his heart rate and everything.
That big.
His ring that he had on, because he said when he pulled it up after his aura ring.
Yeah.
He pulled it up.
Yeah.
Well, it was
forgot about that.
Verified when it happened. We could see
we knew the exact
time.
time that happened. It was like 2:13 or something. I forget exactly what it was, but it was.
Crystal's talking about Vernon Friday night in the bathroom.
Played cards,
and I was getting dowsing rod hug. Crystal, I need to
the
ask
door
you
was
about,
opening.
Crystal, I need to ask you about some of that later after this, because that plays into something at the end of the night in that same room. So I got questions.
Maggie was a good night for them.
Maggie was a good night.
Maggie was
good.
I have never, every time we leave Maggie's always just this big warm hug. She was very active Friday night. That was my first paranormal hangover after her, because she was just, and it was like good. It's, because paranormal hangovers aren't always bad. It's just when it's big active and you're like, all right.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking all the energy.
Up with an alcohol hangover. That's the word on the street, Barbie.
No, this was paranormal hangover for me.
Yeah, paranormal hangover on Friday night.
Yeah, Saturday
night might have been a different night.
Night was a whole different ball game, though. So.
Friday night's the paranormal hangover. Saturday night, no. We're lucky I'm awake right now. And
she looks great, though. You couldn't even tell.
I went out last night. Decisions were made. And
yeah.
I remembered I'm no longer in my 20s. I have
a different kind of spirit got to Buffy last night. Different kind of spirit.
You had the spirits Friday night and then spirits.
It was a spirits and spirits kind of weekend. I'm going to need till March.
When are they coming back here?
May, right?
May.
Y'all May.
Yeah, we're gonna be there for my birthday.
Yes, that'll be Barbie's.
Yay.
Celebrating Barbie's birthday.
Well,
Yeah, and we're gonna do. This is gonna be my first time squatching. I've never squatched.
Yeah, we have never
Before.
squatched.
got
So.
you. We got
You
you.
gotta
Todd-
turn me into a believer.
Yeah, if Todd Leanne come up, definitely we take you up to.
Stay away from Tide because he gets stuff thrown at him
Yeah, they always throw stuff at Todd.
all the time.
Every single
Doesn't matter where we go, he gets stuff thrown at him.
I'm gonna wear a helmet.
Oh, they got
I'm
good
so
names.
So yeah, I think Friday night will be at your house, and then Saturday night we're doing
Right
the Fort Duffield.
Yep.
And
I can't wait.
that's
so
gonna be
much
awesome.
I'm gonna throw them under the bus again.
It's all just start. Nothing is like we're just starting to get it all pulled together. We just now got all the beginnings of that
yeah,
going.
the beginnings of the stages that is Barbie's birthday bash part Dukes. Dukes.
Deuce. Oh, well, let's see.
Oh, Crystal says she's going to.
She's going to meet her. She
The
is
Squatch Camp.
determined that she is going to marry a Bigfoot. And I just
You know what they say about big feet?
Yeah, it's true.
What size shoe you wear?
13.
Buffy's
I'm gonna let my dog come in and finish the.
Okay.
Finish this now.
Vernon says, I hope y'all don't have cheesecake at this one.
Oh,
Shut
we
up,
were
Vernon.
okay. So he's talking about
Vernon,
Yeah.
you'll have a place to sleep, so you don't have to listen to us sitting
So-
up eating cheesecake at 4 a.m.
it was last May. We went to 2 different locations. We did
We were
Morgan
at
County. Was it Morgan County
Yeah, Morgan
Jail?
County Jail and
And then
Olive
Olive Hill High
Hill
School.
High
So we were up in Kentucky, near Morristown, I think. And we had
Mhm.
stayed in that town. And my good friend Casey is an incredible she can make the best sweets ever. And she made the best strawberry cheesecake that I've ever had in my entire life. And we got home from one of the investigations at like 4 a.m. and here's Buffy and I making the loudest noises.
And
as we were
Casey, she was in
eating.
on it
We were
too.
like-
Casey was in on it too.
Casey wasn't on it. She was.
And Vernon was
poor
only mad
Vernon-
because that's the investigation because we had already had to wake him up at that investigation.
That's right.
Sounds like a pattern.
And he was in the other
That
room
was
trying
the
to
school
sleep,
one
and
he
we're
fell
in there
asleep
making
at.
all these weird noises with the cheesecake. And he was like, "Please shut up, go to sleep."
Well, we'll have to make sure that the spirits know it's your birthday and we have to celebrate. So
Yeah.
Yay!
We'll have to do that.
we will.
That would be great.
Maybe they'll sing happy birthday.
Maybe we can
That
get
would be awesome. I'll bring my guitar. We can just have a big.
and sing and see if they sing with us.
See if,
Oh yeah, I'll pull the 360 out.
I'll
and
bring
get
my
that. Let's see if
guitar. We
get
can
that.
play. We can sing. Let's do a concert. I'm down.
Yeah, let's
We
do
can,
it.
you know, Ernie can sing. So
Yeah, we can do some impromptu
Let's go.
a
Oh,
cappella.
that'd be so much fun.
I'll bring some shakers, some tambourines. We can play some spoons. Let's go.
Do some lap drums and
Some washboard. We can do
Hey,
washboard.
Vernon, lap drum.
drums,
Lap drum.
dances.
get to Bruder Manor in Morristown.
All right then.
All right.
What time is it now?
Hmm.
It is time for us to wrap
It's
this
time
up.
for us to wrap it up. So,
It's already been an hour. What happened?
Tuesday.
well, happy early birthday, Mr. Eric Stevens, one of our biggest supporters right there and our
Yeah.
dearest friends. Happy birthday Tuesday, sir. So do you guys have anything coming up you want to talk about? Any public events or anything you're doing, or just
Tell people where they can find you. and-
whatever? Just here you go. Here's your
Yeah,
moment.
you can go to nightsongparanormal.com. We have all of our socials listed there. We do have some public events coming up. We're going to do one in February. It was a charity event that we were going to do, but we just haven't figured out the whole ticketing situation with the venue owner. So we might have to push that back a little bit. But we also are going to join the SQs in July for their Bell Witch thing. So we're excited about that.
That's always a good
And
time.
it's always a good time. But yeah. And then we set up events throughout the whole year, but we don't have anything other than the July thing set up right now. So
Just follow their socials
just
and
follow us.
because they're a fun bunch to be around. They're
We
crazy.
think so.
They
We
really-
try.
I
But you're going to have the time of your life because you got them, you got me, you'll have Leanne,
it's a whole lot of crazy in one room.
and you'll have Todd.
Yep. Yep, it's a whole lot of crazy. I'll be the only sane one out of that bunch. But Vernon will be asleep.
You
so
and Vernon will be up here.
he'll
trying
be
to get
locked in the
diddled.
bathroom asleep.
Okay.
Well, ladies, we love y'all and we
We
appreciate
do
you
love
coming on.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
We love y'all too. Thank
Absolutely.
you
This
for
has been
having us.
So much fun.
Yeah.
Oh.
I can't believe it's already been an hour.
I know.
It flies
If
by.
we weren't dying, we might stay on longer, but we're dying. We both worked long days today.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Eric.
Love you, Eric.
Love you back. And everybody over here in the comments, we love you guys and appreciate you chiming in. Appreciate you following us and being good people. Don't be dicks. Be cool. Be
That's
good
good
people.
life advice.
That part.
Exactly.
Part.
And we'll be back next week. Our guest will probably be
We don't know who our guest is.
somebody
next
else. Probably be somebody else. I don't know. It might not be anybody, folks. You know how we
Will you
roll.
quit talking already?
This is called closing the show.
It's called a Southern goodbye, is what it's called.
Well, that's how we do things. Buffy, Barb, stick around because we're going to say goodnight to you guys.
Okay.
Separately from all these other people over here that just won't shut up. You all hush in the comments. We'll see you next week. We're still here.